What was the hardest part about social life in high school?
I think the hardest part about social life in high school was probably figuring out where you fit into your friend group.
I think the hardest part is like finding like your clique of friends and like who you like most identify with, because like everybody like wants you to be a certain way.
I had a lot of different friend groups and everyone would be in their own cliques.
The expectations that you have to do the same things as everybody or you're automatically outcasted.
Like you had the cool kids and then like the nerdy kids and like, I don't know, it was all different. Like you were kind of put into a group.
What did suburban high school movies such as Mean Girls teach you about high school?
I would say to just be yourself, and you will always find your group of people that you'll hang out with.
At the end of the day, being yourself is the most important part, regardless of what other people think.
In the end, it doesn't matter if you're part of a clique or not.
To ultimately be yourself.
More so be yourself.
You have to be true to yourself.
Being proud of who you are and not being afraid.
So you can't conform to other people. You have to literally be like just a weirdo.
Be yourself. Be who you are. Yes.
In Mean Girls, peer pressure is a main obstacle in the way of figuring out true identity.
Shut up.
As Bowman wrote, Katie Heron is shown being seduced by the powerful status of the plastics and becoming consumed with appearances, popularity, and being cruel to others, even though she had infiltrated the Mean Girl clique to bring them down.
People looked at you all the time, and everybody just knew stuff about you. That new girl moved here from Africa.
I saw Katie Heron wearing army pants and flip-flops, so I bought army pants and flip-flops.
She felt the pressure to be popular, a feeling not unknown to most teenagers, girls and boys alike, and transforms into everything that she is not. Katie Heron's big prom queen speech at the end of the movie is her realizing that the cliques at the school need to end.
No, it's not really required of you to make a speech.
She realizes that being a plastic is not everything. She says everyone is a prom queen.
I mean, it's just plastic. It's really just...
It is ironic because the crown she breaks is plastic. She's breaking apart the plastics clique. She ends the social cliques at school and encourages everyone in the audience to be themselves. Heathers is known to be the original Mean Girls, although much darker and almost disturbing at times. The protagonist, Veronica, is an imperfect teenager who somehow earned a spot with the popular Heathers before the movie even began. Veronica clearly does not fit in with these girls. Her name doesn't even match the three Heathers. Veronica has always known that the cliquiness at her school was terrible and unjust.
You blow it tonight, girl, and it's keggers with kids all next year.
Although it is told in a gruesome story with murder and suicide, the ultimate message is what teenagers can take away from the film.
I can't believe it. I just killed my best friend.
And your worst enemy.
In the end, Veronica dismantles the Heathers clique, removes the scrunchie from Heather's hair, and says,
Heather, my love, there's a new sheriff in town.
As the new sheriff in town, she knows exactly what to do to end the toxic popularity environment. The credits roll as Heather and Martha walk away from the camera together. Veronica's character helps teenagers realize that they don't need to put so much pressure on themselves to conform to the status quo.
The Breakfast Club highlights the individual characters of 5 teens in different social circles.
Enough!
The 5 main characters open up to each other slowly throughout their day together. It seemed to be an emotional yet relieving process for all of them. Brian Johnson, one of the 5 detention students, put it best in their assignment of who they are.
But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain, and an athlete,
And a basket case. A princess.
and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.
Not only did they learn and accept their own and each other's individual identities throughout their conflict with Mr. Vernon, but they also overcame the pressure that they all felt one way or another to act a certain way. Once they started being honest with each other, they realized that no one's life is perfect, and that is perfectly normal. Going through this acceptance together, they supported each other and rejected their stereotypes.
In Pariah, the main character, Alike, is learning to fully embrace her identity as a lesbian in this art drama counter-narrative film. Lee learns throughout the film to stop hiding her true self and sexual preferences from her family. Her mother constantly tells her this.
I know God doesn't make mistakes.
She uses this line against Lee, and that adds a lot of personal struggle to her coming out to her parents. At the end of the film, after Lee comes out to her parents, she says,
And you could tell Mom she was right. God doesn't make mistakes.
She has overcome all her doubts that her mother placed in her head. In this last scene, you see Lee smile slightly as she makes her way to college. This shows the audience that she is proud of herself for coming out and portraying her true self. Lee learned to portray expressive individualism to the people she was most afraid to show her true self to. In conclusion, expressive individualism in suburban high school films helps not only the protagonist learn how to express themselves and be true to themselves, but also offers a positive message for young teenagers and adolescents watching these movies. Just remember to
express yourself in your own way.
Do you?
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.